Hello everybody, we're going to hit you up with another presidential election. This one, the election of 1916, and it is going to be a barn burner. Woodrow Wilson going for the second term. Can he get it done? Let's find that out right now. Now we're going to start off with the incumbent party, and that is the Democratic Party. Woodrow Wilson winning in 1912, becoming the first Democrat to win a presidential election since 1892. And by the time 1916 rolls around, he doesn't really have any opposition for a second term at the Democratic National Convention. He's enormously popular within the party, so he's easily going to receive the nomination for a second term. Wilson is from New Jersey. His vice president, Thomas R. Marshall, gets the same treatment, and he is renominated as vice president without any real opposition. Now that we have our Democratic ticket of Wilson and Marshall, let's go to the Republicans. Now the Republicans are back together again by the time 1916 rolls around. The Progressives are returning to the Republican Party, so the split from 1912 is beginning to heal. And at the Republican National Convention, they put up their own slate of candidates. Massachusetts Senator John W. Weeks, New York Senator Elihu Root, Theodore E. Burton of Ohio, Charles W. Fairbanks of Indiana, and Iowa Senator Albert B. Cummins. But the party bosses wanted a moderate who would be acceptable to both factions of the party. So the party ends up nominating Supreme Court Justice Charles Evans Hughes of New York as their presidential candidate. Hughes had been on the Supreme Court since 1910, so in the last 6 years, he had the advantage of not having to publicly speak about political issues. And although he had not actively sought the nomination, Hughes made it known that he would not turn it down. So he is the Republican nominee for president. Hughes is going to bring along for the ride Charles W. Fairbanks as his running mate. Fairbanks was Teddy Roosevelt's vice president 1905 to 1909, so he's going to go for the vice presidency once again. Now that we have our Democratic ticket of Wilson and Marshall and our Republican ticket of Hughes and Fairbanks, let's put these guys into the ring and let's see who wins this thing. Now, the Democrats built their campaign around the slogan, "He kept us out of war," saying a Republican victory would mean war with both Mexico and Germany. Mexico was going through a civil war at this time, and World War I had broken out in Europe. Wilson's position was critical in winning the western states. Charles Evans Hughes insisted on downplaying the war issue, but he advocated a program of greater mobilization and preparedness. With Wilson having successfully pressured the Germans to suspend unrestricted submarine warfare, it was difficult for Hughes to attack Wilson's peace platform, so instead, Hughes criticized Wilson's military interventions in Mexico, where the U.S. was supporting various factions in the Mexican Civil War. Hughes also attacked Wilson for his support of various pro-labor laws, such as limiting the workday to 8 hours, on the grounds that they were harmful to business interests. His criticisms gained little traction, however, especially among factory workers who supported such laws. Hughes was helped by the vigorous support of Teddy Roosevelt and by the fact that the Republicans were still the nation's majority party at the time. But a key mistake was made by Hughes in California. Just before the election, Hughes made a campaign swing through the state, but he never met with the powerful Republican governor Hiram Johnson to seek his support. Governor Johnson took this as a snub, and he never gave Hughes his full support. World War I broke out in 1914 in Europe after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, who was the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. The United States remained neutral but would enter the war in April of 1917. Also, the Mexican Civil War was going on down in Mexico. Porfirio Diaz was overthrown as the Mexican leader in 1910. and for a time the United States had occupied the port of Veracruz, a coastal city in Mexico. Eventually Mexico would get their stuff together, and a political party called the PRI would dominate Mexican politics until the election of Vicente Fox in 2000. Now that the campaign is over, let's get to the results. Now this election is going to be a squeaker, but Woodrow Wilson wins the second term. He's going to receive 277 electoral votes to Charles Evans Hughes 254. Wilson's 30 states are going to end up voting for Wilson and the Democrats, while 18 states vote for Charles Evans Hughes and the Republicans. The key state here proved to be California. Had Charles Evans Hughes won California, he would have become the new president. In terms of the popular vote, it's going to be 49.2% for Woodrow Wilson and 46.1% for Charles Evans Hughes. So this is a very close election. Came down to California, but Woodrow Wilson carried the day in California, and therefore he carried the election. He's going to step aside in 1920, leaving two new candidates to vie for the presidency. Who will come out on top in that election of 1920? We'll talk about that next time. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get a lot out of it. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, go ahead and watch those if you want. And with that, we will see you next time.